What is up? Oh, I'm noticing there's two different cameras.
Look at that one.
So we'll look at this one. Okay,
For everyone on
awesome.
Matthew, sorry.
What is up, guys? Welcome to a 3-part special. What's up, Karen? On relational
intelligence. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Matthew. And today, we're going to be talking about the conflict resolution code.
Yeah. So you may or may not know this, but relational intelligence has been taking a little bit of a hiatus because we got married last year.
Guys,
so
we got married.
We wanted to really spend our attention and our energy on our relationship so that we could better serve all of you. And so we are bringing relational intelligence back for a very short time. And of course, it's almost Valentine's Day. And for some people, that's really exciting. And for other people, it's kind of painful.
Yeah.
And just a reminder of what's not present in your relationship or in your love life that you wish was. And so that's why we wanted to do this 3-part training for you as our gift to you to pass on the epic love, and for you to know that really great love is a product of your creation. It's not something you stumble upon. We didn't just get lucky and meet the right person.
No.
We use a very specific set of tools and mechanics to create the amazing connection that people see whenever they witness us together. And we're super excited to share some of those things with you today.
Totally. And one of the metaphors that we use a lot is and in fact, Amanda came up with this, is like, it's almost like learning to fly a plane. Like, if you were to keep flying planes and you kept crashing them and somehow you stayed alive, but you kept crashing them and you kept crashing them and you kept crashing them, eventually somebody would say something to the effect of like, why do you keep crashing them? And you're like, well, I'm just waiting for the right plane. Like, when I get the right plane, I'm gonna
It's because of the plane that I keep crashing.
It's gonna be great, you know. But I just need to find the right plane. To which the person would be like, that's ridiculous. You just need to get a pilot's license. Like, you just need to learn how to actually fly the plane. And what's so funny is that so many of us go to school for accounting. We go to school for business. We go to school for name the thing.
Right, we're always investing in education.
But there's nothing for relationships. Like, there is nothing to tell us how to actually relate better and communicate better and have better connection in our partnership except our parents, which may have been a great education, but in many cases it was a rather dysfunctional or codependent or things that were just left wanting more. So we are excited to bring this to you today to talk about the conflict resolution code.
Yes, and so I actually want to share a story with you guys before we share a really powerful tip for you guys. We have an incredible tool that Matthew and I use every single week in our relationship.
Every week.
That if you use it consistently will dramatically change your relationship. And that's what these two people experienced that we're about to tell you about. There were these two beautiful people who joined one of our online programs to, like Matthew just described, go to school to learn how to learn how to drive a successful relationship. Because there really are skills and mechanics that you're going to have to learn and master if you want a sustainable, successful relationship. So these two people signed up, and one of the problems that they experienced most is the inability to really talk through difficult subjects. And if you're listening, maybe you can relate to that. That there are just some areas, some topics or subjects that are just a no-go. Like, that is something that you know.
Money, let's not talk about it. Sex, oof, let's not talk about it. Potentially politics, like certain things. Let's just avoid that because he's going to get pissed or she's going to get pissed.
Or maybe for you, it's something more specific, more detailed that is a trigger in your relationship that you just have not figured how to get around. And so these two people showed up and they put in the work. And what we're talking about today, it's actually module 2 of the program that we run. The conflict resolution code was pivotal for them. And through practicing the tools, the techniques, really doing the inner work that
we're going to give you one of them.
We are going to give you one today. Super exciting. By implementing these things, one of the partners in that relationship actually came up to Matthew and I afterwards, and this was like music to our hearts. This is the reason that we do this. And they expressed to us that there's nothing in their relationship that they're afraid to talk about anymore. There's literally, can you imagine that? Nothing in your relationship that you're afraid to talk about. And she said, she was
nothing. Like nothing is off the table.
She's
with
like,
them.
Amanda, it used to be so terrifying to go into a difficult conversation because we had no idea how to get through it, and it caused so much disconnection. And now there's no fear in going into a subject that we know might cause some tension because we have the tools to get through it. And because of that, we feel invincible. Like there's nothing that can come up that's gonna split us apart, that's gonna disconnect us, because we know how to work through all of it.
Makes me so happy.
And that's really the intention of relational intelligence. That is the intention of the conflict resolution code, is giving you the ability, giving you your power back so that you know that no matter what comes up in your relationship, you're going to be able to work through it and meet in the middle with your partner. And that's why, like I said yesterday, for Matthew and I, there's not a fight we've ever had that we don't look back on with fondness. And I know for some people when I say that, it sounds like hyperbole. It sounds like that's not true. She's exaggerating. But that really is the case for us. And it's because of this. It's because of these tools that we practice.
To the point where by the end of the conversation, we actually feel more connected than we did even before the conflict, ironically enough. We feel like we better understand the other one, and we feel like we better understand ourselves.
And that's what conflict is for.
Compassion for both of us.
Conflict is for creating better connection.
Yeah.
Bet you might not have known that.
And so one of the things that we do in the course of the course itself, but specifically in module 2, is we actually go over the anatomy of a conflict. Like, let's actually break down what happens from the moment that you get upset to the moment all the way through all of the successive moments.
Nailed it.
Boom. Consequence with sequence. The consequences that move as you go through consequence with sequence. All the things that move through to the end of a conflict, to the place where you're like, okay, cool. We reached resolution and we feel really good now. And so when we go through that, at the very end of that, though, we teach something that we're going to teach today, and we're so excited about it. This is such a great taster to get you started in the direction of having less conflict that leads to bad things, and more conflict that actually leads to
amazing things,
better things for you in your relationship. So, shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
So here it is, guys. This is the point for today. Amanda and I, every single Tuesday, we go on our date nights. We go to Bird's Eye. I don't even know what the full name is, Bird's Eye, but it's a local, organic, fresh Thai place. And while we're there, we sit down, and you can imagine we're sitting at our table, we're eating our pad Thai, and we always have the conversation of what's in between us. What's in between us? It's literally that simple. What's in between us? Now, before you get too far and your mind starts racing, if done without skill and the understanding to back that question, it can turn into mudslinging very quickly. So that's not the point. It's not to just say hey, what's your beef? What's going on? The point is actually to say hey, so over the week, I'm noticing that things have built up in between us. There's a conversation that didn't fully feel like we came to resolution on, or it felt like there was this kind of niggling disagreement that we had that we both kind of were just okay, well, whatever, we'll talk about that later. So this is your moment to really square up with one another and really say hey, in between us, there's an energetic thing that's either a little wonky or a little emotional upsetness. And what's in between us? Let's speak to what's in between us right now. And that is what creates greater connection in the long run.
Yeah, if you will do that over a period of time, you actually gradually start to clear out. And if you haven't done this in a long time, then guess what? There's going to be a lot of stuff under your rug. And that's kind of what Matthew was saying, is the disclaimer here is if you don't have the ability to not take what your partner feels, shares, and chooses personally, if you don't have the ability to not make that about you, which, let's be honest, almost none of us were taught that, and that's really one of the things that it's super important for you to learn if you want to have a successful, sustainably happy relationship.
So if you're used to insert rug, sweep it under, put rug back down, sweep it under the rug, this isn't going to work for you. This isn't going to fly for you, and chances are you'll probably just end up going back to your sweeping it under the rug. And if you feel comfortable living a life and frankly having a relationship where everything is swept under the rug, then go for it. That's not our decision to pass judgment and say that's wrong or bad. That's how most of us were raised. Now, the way that Amanda and I run, though, is we like to work at a level of, like, how can we, like, clear this out and get back on to, like, connection and ultimately to, like, greater success in every other area of our lives as well as in our relationship.
So that is the tool that Matthew and I use every single week, is asking the question, what's in between us? Give your partner an opportunity to share with you the things that are blocking their ability to feel connected to you. And ask them if they're open to hearing the things that are blocking your ability to feel connected to them. And try that out. See what happens. We're totally here. If it goes well, let us know. If you're like,
please.
I had no idea how to handle what my partner brought up, then we're here for that also. And again, this tool, this one script, and Matthew and I use scripts like this all the time. It's a lot of what we share in our program. Because guess what? Systems work. Systems work. The same way they work in business is the same way they work in relationship. And it's super important to have a system for creating connection in your relationship.
I would like to say something. And in the midst of fight or flight, like, that's what happens. That's kind of letting the cat out of the bag, which most of you know, is that when you get into a fight, as fight or flight happens, all of your, like, actual thinking and conscious mind go out the window. So if you don't have something that you can reliably come back to again and again and again, that's why we use scripts, because your brain is offline, most likely, and you're fully in, like, nervous system shutdown when you get into conflict. So you need to have these systems and these scripts in place that you can always reliably go back to when you are frustrated, when you are angered at your partner.
And that's really one of the reasons why this couple that came to us after going through our program was so elated, is because they had finally developed the ability, through going through the exercises that we do together, they had finally developed the ability to not take what the other person shares personally and make it about them. And that is what makes you invincible. That is what gives you the ability to work through anything, to talk about anything. So please, please use this tool, implement it in your relationship. And if you feel like you're not able at this point to not take what your partner says personally, I would say actually table this tool, reach out to us, let's have a conversation about what needs to shift for you so that you can have that ability with yourself and you can create a relationship that is everything you ever hoped it could be, because that is not only possible, it's probable when you have the right tools and the right systems in place.
Game on. And guys, we are going to be giving away some gifts in the next couple days, which I'm super excited about. So we are doing this as a 3-part series. So today, tomorrow, and Friday, all at 3:30 Pacific. So I'm watching both cameras, so I probably look a little like all over the place. 3:30 Pacific. So that's, if you're in East Coast, that's 6:30 Pacific, or Eastern. You know what I mean? And we're going to be offering gifts. So stick around. We are super excited and can't wait for day 2 tomorrow. So please go ahead. If this was helpful, share this. Like this, comment on this, because more people need to see this stuff. Yes. Relationships are so vitally important. And if they're not rocking, like, what are we in them for, right? Like, the point is for them to be thriving, and the point is for you to be thriving. So with that, share this with your friends. Tag a couple friends below. Comment.
Let us know what you took from this, the takeaway for you, thoughts that you had, and we are so, so excited that you're here. We're so excited to be able to share these tools with you, give some gifts away, and we will see you tomorrow at the very same time.
Talk to you tomorrow, guys.
Mwah.
Bye-bye.